Hey, I just want to give a quick update on how our comparison trial is doing here on the beans and the rye. I had most of this video recorded and then I must have hit a button and erased it all. So it's June 28th. Just want to give a quick update, show you how the beans are doing, how the rye is doing, and how the weeds are doing. So these are the beans, conventional tilled, 30 inches. I just finished cultivating them. We actually had 1.5 inches of rain. Today is Tuesday, so it'd be about 3 or 4 days ago, and we are dry enough that it is already dried out. We had weeds that were pretty good size growing in here. I should have cultivated it sooner, but we were busy covering other acres. So this will be a good comparison. Just, you know, real world. We're not babying this trial. We're just getting to it as we get to it. We will run a weed zapper over this to get any weeds that are popping up. But we'll come over here and look at the beans that were drilled. You can see we do have plenty of weeds growing in these drilled beans. These were rotary hoed, I believe, about 3 times. Probably within the next week, this ragweed will get to be tall enough that we can weed zap it in this field. We'll see. The grass will be another challenge. We do have sections in here that are cleaner for whatever reason. If you come here, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but there's a section that has a little bit less weeds growing. You can see the lighter streaks are where there's more weeds. So we had really good weed control, and I think if we probably would have been a little bit more aggressive on the rotary hoe, hitting it maybe at least one more time, we probably would have been able to keep a lot of that grass from growing. But that's how it is. This is real world trials here. So we'll come over here to the rye real quick. This rye is probably about a week or so away from combining. You can just smell the straw, but the seed itself still has a decent amount of moisture. So we'll look here. These beans are coming along. They're not really actually too leggy. There's a little bit of height to them, but they are nowhere near the top of this rye. We'll be able to combine this rye fairly easily. There's not too many weeds growing down here. I would show you, but you really can't see too much through the rye. So you can see here where we drove the tractor, we did crush down more of the rye. The beans are growing there. We'll be able to harvest a good deal of the rye in this section. Give me a second here to walk a few more feet. Okay, and now we are to where we had drilled the beans into the rye instead of on the 30 inches with the planter over here. This is the drilled. I don't know why this section, this mat, is so much thicker. I don't know if that was an overlap when we were planting the rye compared to over here. But you can see here, we do have weeds that are coming underneath this. Hopefully these beans, now that they're out of this rye mat, will start to really bush out and shade some of that out. Some of this is clover, so I'm not sure how that's going to compete. And this, we are not, if your goal was to plant beans into rye and then combine the rye, drilling would not be a good choice. You can see the drill has knocked down most of this rye. It is down on the ground. There are these thin strips that made it through the drill. It would just not be worth it. So if your goal would be to plant into either standing wheat or rye and then harvest that small grain, you really need to do it on 30 inches. You're gonna knock down a whole lot less wheat. In a situation like this, you're not gonna have any of your small grain left. But our goal originally was just to roller crimp this, and we're just trialing to see what's gonna work the best in terms of weed control, just ease of maintenance and our time, with a little bit of a yield comparison there as well. So you can see these are the drilled into rye beans, and we had the planted into rye, the conventional till into rye stubble, and the drilled into rye stubble. So that's where we're at. In another week or so, depending on the weather, we'll hopefully have this rye combined off, and we'll see how well these beans take off with a little bit more light getting to them and as they start to grow. So stay tuned, there'll be more updates.